Hey everybody, it's Munkin FEW here, back with yet another coaster creation. And my previous few videos were some, kind of epic videos with a few quick shots and then a POV. Here I kind of want to go into detail and in depth to really show you guys exactly what it took to build this monster of a ride. Now, if you're just interested in the POV, I'll put that in the description below this video. I'll put this timestamp there so you can go straight to the POV. But I think you'll appreciate this ride more if you kind of know the context and how much time and effort it took to build this. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. Now, the coaster type that I used is an extended one. It's called this one, the Expansion CTR, and you can already see that you can choose some trains, basically, trains that weren't in the game originally, but not just that, it has an absolute ton of just extra track pieces. So if I would build a quick station here, you can already see like I have a big half loop, I have a drop the steep, I have a large overbank turn, medium half loop, a tilt spiral, and just a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So with this type of roller coaster, as well as the other one I'm using, the Blue Fire CTR, you're able to make completely new coasters that you wouldn't be able to make in regular RCT3. So that's what I used for the roller coaster itself. Like I said, it's a multi-launch roller coaster, and I just want to go real quick with you guys through the ride itself, and you can see just what type of track pieces I've used. So let me just close it right here, open up construction mode. Now here we have the station, and it starts off with a quick launch, and then as you can see here, we have these overbank turns. And then it goes straight into a 90-degree bank turn. So these are stock pieces that came originally with the game. And then we have this really cool inversion here. This is like a really super wide, super long corkscrew that goes over the path, also into this kind of like ring here. So you have this kind of, near miss moment, I guess. It goes back into a bank turn, 45 degrees. So this is all stock, supported with some tunnels. Then it makes this kind of turn to the left, and then a turn to the right into this really cool element. I love this. This is kind of like a tilted loop, which you do have on the extended coaster, but this one's much bigger and much more horizontal. And it also goes down, so you have this like kind of, it's borderline like a helix. From here it goes underground, and it makes another bank turn into an overbank turn, and then another overbanked section, but it ends up banked diagonally. Then it makes this long swooping corner, and then into the second launch. Like I said, it's a multi-launch roller coaster. It goes under the path, so the guest could possibly stand here and look up, and then it gets into this crazy part right here. So this is a top hat, but as you can see right here, it's a beyond 90-degree drop. So this is like, 195 degrees. So this is really cool. And it goes into a half loop, and then into a dive loop, or in this case it's called a half 0G roll. And then once again it goes under the path into this kind of area. Again, I'll explain a little bit more about the foliage and the stuff later on. For now we're just focusing on the track. Into this half 0G roll, and then into a dive loop. So this is a really crazy inversion that kind of flings you to the left, and then once again we go under the ground level into this kind of like tunnel. And then another half 0G roll, and then another really the big corkscrew piece that I've used before in this part. And then we end up again banked. So we have this kind of overbank turn. So we have this really large, almost like a tilted loop almost. So we have this really large swooping turn that we basically make kind of like a 360. Then we dive down to the left into this area, which is also below ground level, into an overbank turn. And then from here, we go from 90 degrees, we flip all the way straight, and then 45 degrees to the right. And then once again, we use that really big, large corkscrew, which I'm a big fan of if you haven't noticed yet. And once again, we go over the path. We have these stock pieces, these bank turns. Then we flip to the right into an overbank, into another piece that I really like, which is kind of like 90-degree banked into 0 degrees in terms of like the corners, and then it drops down. So you have this like almost like a Stengel dive or something like what you want to call it. So from here we go to straight again. And then we have this again, a unique piece here, that this goes from straight to gentle, but it also goes from unbanked to banked. So you have this really smooth transition from bank to unbank, also with some elevation. Go into another overbank turn, and again another piece where we go from 90-degree bank to straight and then straight down into again this kind of area below ground level with some stock pieces. This is also a really cool piece that this coaster has. It's basically a 90-degree turn, but in the process it goes from 90 degrees banked to 45 degrees. So that's really cool. So here we flip to the left, we make a bank turn to the left right here. Again, still we're underground, we go over the path, and then we end up finally with a loose corkscrew, this very kind of like loose corkscrew, once again over the path, and then a banked, kind of like a non-banked turn, excuse me, and into the final brake run. So this is an absolutely crazy, crazy ride. Now, the roller coaster type, the track itself is just one part of the equation. What you have to keep in mind is that building support for a roller coaster like this is extremely time consuming. Because normally, what I would do, let's say if it's just a regular coaster with regular pieces, I have a whole bunch of these pre-made support designs, and these will all fit, well, not all fit, these will fit most of the time. So this saves me a huge amount of time. However, because these are all kind of like unique pieces, they don't line up well with these kind of pre-made support structures that I've made. So pretty much every single support that you see for these unique pieces that aren't stock, I had to make just from scratch, piece by piece. So that took a lot of time. There are some segments that I was able to just plop down. So this is stock track, so to say. So these are also pre-made supports. So yeah, the supports also took a lot of time because it's also a pretty long roller coaster. And yeah, you can see it's surrounded by paths. And if you don't know yet, these are there's also a mod. This is Beastie's Path mods. And with this, you're able to create these very nice, smooth, swooping paths. You're able to create diagonal paths. This looks a million times better than if you were to make it, try to make it with like the standard pathing, because then, you know, a smooth corner will just end up looking like this. And this looks, well, not the greatest if you ask me. Now, of course, let me just delete this. All of the pathing, because I wanted this to also have a nice amount of detail, all the pathing has fencing around it. Again, all the fencing is compatible with all of the turns that I've used with the curved pathing. So if you zoom in, you really see the amount of detail when it comes to the pathing and the fencing, and also all the paths around it. You have, you know, litter bins and benches and everything. Apart from that, it doesn't have anything else. Sometimes I add some flat rides or some stalls. Here it was just the main focus was just the roller coaster. So apart from that, you can see that I've also put a decent amount of work into the foliage. Now you can see that the texture of this kind of ground is you know, a very different color than the standard grass. And that's because a lot of this foliage and a lot of these trees, they really don't match this kind of like sharp green, bright texture. So what I did, this is not a mod, what I did is I went to the textures here and I started off with this one right here, the rough grass. So let me just, yeah, let me just make this right here. Now this is already a little bit better, but you can see this is a lot darker. And what I did is I used this one and the rock texture and I put it on one block, and then I very gently just kind of added this in. And you can see if you place just one of these, like use one block, it doesn't completely override the other texture. And by doing this, you can see it becomes this mix of all these different textures. And with this, you're actually able to create kind of like a darker texture that really fits these trees and the foliage. So again, this is something I did, and it took me quite a while. But, you know, the funny thing is when I made Enigma, I told you guys, oh, this is probably going to be, I'm never going to do this much detail again. It's very time consuming. Then I was making this and I wanted to use these new trees. I forgot which add-on it's called. Let me just check. And I don't think it's, I can check it right now, but you can see these are all also custom trees that aren't in the game originally. So this also really helps. And I was building these trees and I was like, man, this would really look great with some extra foliage. So at the end of the day, I was like, screw it, I'm not in a rush to make it. I can just, start up the game, do a little bit, quit. Next day, I do a little bit more, and just piece by piece kind of, put it together, build it together, if you will. Now, if we really zoom in, you can see all the detail. So we have all of these like tiny plants here. We have rocks. We have this kind of stuff on the ground, like branches and leaves and everything. So this is what I mean with the immense amount of detail. And it's everywhere. You can see this section right here, exact same kind of principles. You have like rocks, you have branches, you have bushes, you have these logs, you have these kind of plants and everything. So if you just look at this, and I hope you guys can see it, a lot of this took a good amount of time. But surprisingly, it wasn't tedious for me. I really liked kind of decorating this ride, because when you look at the end result, it looks amazing, personally, if you ask me. And you can see it as well here in this kind of stuff below ground. So again, when I built this, I wanted things to kind of go below ground. And I thought it would be really cool if these would be like kind of dugout sections with this kind of brick wall. I thought that would be kind of cool, cooler, I guess. Instead of using kind of like hills with the elevation tool, I thought this would kind of look cool. Also because now the guests can really get up close and look down and see the train, like really up close, so to say. So I thought that was really cool. I also used some other rocks. So this is from the Weber's Foliage set. This is from Shy Guy's rock set. So I created some rocks. Again, the whole idea of this roller coaster is that a lot of the track is close to the ground. There's a lot of near miss moments to really enhance the feeling of speed. So yeah, you can see here again, lots of bushes, lots of grass, foliage, tree stumps and everything. It's just, yeah, I went pretty nuts here. But I mean, I love the end result, and I hope you guys do too. So yeah, that's pretty much all the work that went into this roller coaster. Again, I used footers, I built a station, and just a few other things. But I hope you guys now understand just how much time this took. But I'm really proud of it. This might be now my best creation yet. I'm not sure. I mean, Enigma and this one are pretty close. This one doesn't have an absolute ton of cliffs, so it doesn't have that. But yeah. So last but definitely not least, let's go ahead and ride this roller coaster. And actually, let me just go ahead and change the time, because I like to ride this in kind of the early afternoon, because this is the type of foliage in this roller coaster I think fits really well with the colors that you see in the sky and in the game when you're in the afternoon. So let me just go ahead and speed this up until we are kind of, yeah, I guess at 2 should be fine. Yeah, right there. Let me just really quickly just make sure. Yeah, there we go. Turn on the sound. There we go. I think it should be fine. So let's go ahead and ride this, and let's see what it's like to ride Scimitar. Everything's set. Yep. Okay, here we go. Starting off with the launch, and you can see the fog in the cave. Here we go into the overbank turn. 90-degree bank turn. There we go into that big corkscrew, and you can see just how long and how swooping it is. I really like it. Some quick bank turns here. Here comes that tilted loop where we go underground or below ground level. And then we go into this overbank turn, into this long swooping corner here, turn here into our second launch as we go up the top hat into the beyond 90-degree drop. Half loop into a dive loop. Again, below the path. Into our 0G roll, or half 0G roll into a dive loop. 0G roll into that loose corkscrew piece again. Again, I love that part. Into our kind of, again, really long extended tilted loop almost. Below ground level again. Here comes that big corkscrew once again. Here we come into the or bank to straight pieces. One final time we go below ground level, lots of foliage, lots of near miss moments, into a final loose corkscrew, and there we go. Nice. Yeah, so that's it, guys. That's Scimitar. That's my latest creation. Again, I wanted to kind of provide commentary and some context so you guys can hopefully appreciate and understand just how much work this was to create. But again, I don't It's not a painful chore to me. I don't hate this or anything like. I really just like to build roller coasters and then go into detail. It's very therapeutic after like a long stressful day or something. I just chill and build a little bit here and there. I don't finish it in one day. I just build a little bit on this day, build a little bit that day, and slowly but surely finish this up. So there you go, guys. That's my latest creation. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back pretty soon with another video. But until then, have yourself a wonderful day.